Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. How do you like my beautiful green screen? I work really hard on creating this. It's all AI created. I mean, I'm so good at it that, you know, you can just, that's how good it is. I mean, I'm good at the AI green screen stuff. Well, just kind of to cap off and recap and whatever about the stuff that's going on. I know it's stuff. Who cares anymore? It's just a lot of things. But, you know, there's some important stuff going on. And I wanted to bring that to your attention. I haven't really done a whole lot in the last few days of specific news, current events. So I thought this might be a good chance to do that. Sun is still being crazy. The sunspots that were spitting out all those solar flares, it's kind of gone around the corner where we can't see it anymore. Belched out a few real good ones, one of the biggest on record. But the one that's coming around on the other side has just recently shot out an X-class solar flare. So it's possible that this solar flare activity could increase and continue or something like that. I talk about that, pole shifting, stuff like that today over on Locals. So if you're a member of Locals, you should check that one out. And I certainly am no expert on it. I'm mostly just proposing questions, kind of opening the doorway for the discussion, if any of you want to talk about it over there. Inflation numbers came out. Inflation went down like 0.1% is what they're saying officially. But I did see something the other day that they're now not counting coffee. Coffee's not being counted as part of inflation. So of course it's going to go down. You know, they just little by little, they stop including certain items in the overall inflation number. And so we get this ridiculous 3.4%, which is absolutely absurd. It's not the real number. And it's also a year-over-year number, which means that inflation isn't up 3.4%, even if that is the correct number, even if that is absolutely an honest, pure, genuine number. It's not up 3.4%. It's only up 3.4% over last year. And if last year at that time, you know, this time last year, if inflation was high then, so the food or whatever was inflated that much, and then now a year later, it's inflated that much plus an additional 3.4%. So if you went back 4 years, 5 years, and took an overall tally, you're definitely in the double digits. You're probably in the 20s or very close to that, maybe even in the 30s, and then certainly on some things, 50 and 100% inflation. So don't let them sell you the lie that inflation isn't that bad. In fact, today, the White House, you know, that woman that's a diversity hire at the White House, she even said, which is, it's either ignorant or it's a lie or it's both. She said that food prices have come down. Inflation's down and food prices have come down. That's not at all what the case is. I mean, even if we just went by official government numbers, that's not true. That's not how it works. It doesn't have a grasp of economics because, again, even based on official numbers, 3.4% that was released today or yesterday or whatever, that's 3.4% higher than last year. That's certainly not lowering of numbers. And it's 3.4% higher than what it was last year, which last year was already high, and so was the year before. So food prices haven't gone down, folks, and inflation hasn't gone down. It's not rising as fast, at least the official numbers, especially when you start excluding things like coffee and stuff. It's not showing that it's rising as fast as it once was, but it's still rising. And for food prices and inflation to be down, like actually go down, we would have to have negative inflation. I mean, even if inflation was only 0.1%, that means it would be 0.1% higher than it was last year. So for the only way for inflation to go down is actually for it to be in the negatives. So it's inflation's going. Don't listen to their lies. That's how they manipulate and twist things. Inflation is very high. It's continuing to go up, and it will continue to go up based on the reckless spending policies, the reckless creation of money policies. I mean, they just announced yesterday or today that they're sending another $2 billion weapons package to Ukraine. I mean, that money's got to come from somewhere. Even if they're sending them old equipment, then we replace it. We as a government, as the United States, replace it. So that's $2 billion. Where's that coming from? Oh, we just created out of thin air, you know, tippity tack on the keyboard and add a few extra numbers. And now we have an extra $2 billion. That's what we're doing. That's why we're like almost $35 trillion in debt, folks. And it's growing at really almost exponential rates at this point. You know, almost $1 trillion a quarter in debt that we are growing. I mean, even the big boys at the Federal Reserve and JP Morgan Chase and the International Monetary Fund has said that this trend of debt is unsustainable. So what's that mean? Well, eventually there's going to be a collapse or a zeroing out of debt because there's some new currency. Something's going to happen. In other news, this is kind of one of the bigger news today. There's been another bridge wreck. Yeah, a barge crashed into a bridge. Remember, we've had a couple of those recently. That one that was up in, what was it, Baltimore or wherever, that got the big garnishment of news. Did you know that they just removed that barge just a few days ago? They just removed it and pulled down parts of the bridge that was, so it's been sitting there this whole time. And they just now removed it just a couple of days ago. But another one happened down in Galveston, Texas. At an island there called, I believe, Pelican Island. This barge crashed into the bridge, and the bridge had a rail line next to it, and it caused that rail line to collapse. This is the only way on or off this island. This island is kind of on its own. There's no other highways. There's nothing else going into this island. That's the only way. And it's caused an oil spill. And so they're cleaning that up. And I mean, it could just be an accident. Accidents do happen. Things do happen. But it is a little strange that these kind of things are happening more often, it seems. In fact, throughout history, there's not been that many barges crash into bridges causing them to collapse. But we've had a couple recently, more than a couple. And so I started doing a little digging, and this may mean nothing. I want to make this clear. It may mean nothing. So I was thinking, well, what is going on here? I mean, Galveston is, and Houston area, Houston, Texas, Galveston, is quite possibly one of the most major ports. I mean, maybe there's more stuff that goes in and out of the LA port, but that one down there is where all the oil and stuff for the most part goes in and out of. So it's a very, very major port. So could it cause any disruptions because of this? I don't know. But I was kind of focusing in on this Pelican Island because, and my wife, she's originally from Houston, so I was asking her, and she's been there, and she mentioned a couple of things. But it didn't seem like it was anything. I thought, well, maybe there's nothing to this. Maybe it is an accident. So I started digging, and there's a campus for Texas A&M there. There's a couple of ship museums. There's a few businesses there that focus in shipyards. You know, they building cranes and the rope and the cables and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm looking around on Google Maps, on Google Earth, and then something popped up, and it may be nothing. I'm not trying to insinuate that there's something going on here, but Halliburton, some of you know, some of you older, especially older folks know, Halliburton's there. Halliburton, and from what I understand, that they build at that place, they're manufacturing geothermal drill bits and mining equipment to do geothermal mining for, you know, green energy and all this kind of stuff. Now, is this going to disrupt that? I don't know. I mean, there's still docks there. I guess things come in and out of on shipping, but from my understanding, it's going to be way easier to move stuff in and out by train. And now that's shut down. So is this some kind of planned thing? Is there something going on that we haven't quite figured out yet? I mean, in the next coming days, will there be people that discover more things? The internet's really good at doing a lot of digging. So I don't know. But I thought that was interesting that this major company, a major company that has very strong ties with Dick Cheney and the former Bush administration. Yeah, they're right there, and now anything that they ship in and out by rail is obviously going to shut down, because the train, the only train going in and out of there, has been collapsed by a bridge or by a barge crashing into it. So we will see over the next few days, I think, what some of this stuff is. And it's probably both of these options I'm going to throw at you. On one hand, it could just be general disruption, just to make you believe that our infrastructure's falling apart. We got passenger jets falling out of the sky practically, crashing all the time. Wheels don't work, doors fly off. We've got bridges crumbling, we got dams leaking, we got roads falling apart. We got all these infrastructure problems, which that's a big thing that the left wants to do. You know, we got to spend trillions of dollars on building all new infrastructure, but if we're going to do it, we might as well build it in these smart cities and everyone just move there. It just makes more sense, right? Do these little 15-minute cities. I mean, even this year in Paris at the Olympics, they've cordoned off areas of the city, and you can only go into certain parts of the city. You have to have a QR code on your phone, and you scan it, and if you're approved, you get to go into that part of the city. So certain neighborhoods, they have these QR code scanners. Could that be another testing ground, kind of beta testing that idea? Because that's what they want to do with the 15-minute cities. But anyways, you know, the infrastructure's falling apart. We got to spend a bunch more money, got to go into debt, increase the wealth of the elites, and then push everyone into these 15-minute smart cities, because all the infrastructure is bad everywhere. You can't be traveling because the bridges and the roads are falling apart. You can't be flying because the planes are falling apart. So it's better for you to just, you know, live in your little 15-minute city, your little smart city, ride your electric tram, you know, to the places that you're allowed to go to, that your QR code on your phone allows you to enter and exit, and then everything's fine. So that's one hand. It could be, you know, that they're trying to push us to that. The other thing is it just could be that, in fact, everything's fallen apart, and they want to, you know, play off of that and increase the chaos and increase the panic, or the, what's the right word, that people have kind of lost all hope, you know, this despair in the United States that we're not what we once were. We're not this great nation anymore. We're falling apart. Everything's falling apart. You know, the news wants to show you how great China is, how great Europe is, how great Russia is, but, you know, America's falling apart. So you know, it could be a little bit of both. But I think what we are seeing is part of that Great Reset plan. It's moving forward every day. We have to realize that. So when we see, you know, articles like I told you the other day of, you know, oh, these cicadas are everywhere. Well, guess what? You should just eat them. Get used to eating the bugs. They're great for you. Let's eat some cicadas. You know, beef is bad for you. It's better to eat a bag of Skittles, and it's bad for you too, because you're going to get a new disease. You're going to get some new flu because you're drinking milk and you're eating meat. So let's kill off all the animals. You know, they're polluting the environment anyways. That's why we have global warming. It's because all these cows farting everywhere. So we got to get rid of them. You also shouldn't be driving. That's polluting horribly. You should go to electric vehicles, but guess what? The electric vehicles aren't really that efficient. You know, you can't do any long-term traveling. I mean, they're great if you plan on living in a inner city and just going around a few blocks. They're great for that. But if you want to do long-term travel, not really the thing. So guess what? Let's just eliminate long-term travel. It makes sense to do that because our infrastructure is falling apart anyways. The bridges are all collapsing. The roads are horrible. You know, so let's just stick within the smart cities. Everything's at your fingertips. Of course, you got to take all the shots and everything, and you have to be educated the way they want you to be educated. You have to give up your guns because that's just too dangerous in highly populated areas. And you got to eat what we tell you to eat. But it'll be great. You won't own much, you won't have much, but you will live in absolute bliss. You're not going to be traveling because that's bad for the environment. I mean, it's okay for the elites to travel because, you know, they're out there doing good. They're out there reaching the masses and they're trying to educate everyone. So it's okay that, you know, they burn more fuel and more carbon in 1 year than an entire city of middle-class people do in their lifetime. But, you know, it's for a purpose. This is the message that they're trying to send us. You know, make sure you get your mark and your mark because we got to keep track of you. It's for your own safety. And I sometimes, or most of the time, believe these things that seem so benign, like a barge crashing into a bridge, is part of that plan. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. Let me know what you think, but certainly we need to be getting prepared, because all of these things that are happening every day, they're just more and more little puzzle pieces that go together, that fit together, and show us the greater picture of them taking over our lives, this great reset, this Agenda 2030 New World Order, this beast system that is trying to be pushed and forced upon us. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.